riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, co-host extraordinaire Charlie Conway to my Coach Bombay, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
I am distraught, Garrett. I am in almost mourning for the state of Brads in this country.
We've been listening to quite a song this week. Why don't you tell the folks at home what we're going to be talking about?
We will be discussing Brad Paisley's 2013 song, Accidental Racist, featuring LL CJ. And this was a very, very recent request from somebody named Tyler Kuhn.
Flawless. Now, this is what we're talking about when we talk about listener requests. This is tailor-made for this show. My God, it's in the title. Guys, we probably didn't need to listen to this song. It's called Accidental Racist. Tim, I gotta ask, do you hate this song?
Garrett, it's kind of interesting because...
Oh my God.
This song is absolutely terrible. It is embarrassing. It is uncomfortable. It's poorly made. It's kind of racist. It's definitely misguided. I think I love this song.
Okay.
It's amazing. This is my favorite week of this show so far. Garrett, I might be in love with this song.
Interesting. Dare I say you're in love with it for all the wrong reasons?
I don't know. My pure joy for everything that has happened this week, I can't distinguish just yet. But for now, I'm going to say I do not hate this song. I love this song. Jury's out on whether or not I am in love with this song. What about you? Do you hate this song?
Why, yes, I do. Quite confidently, in fact, Tim, and I understand your appreciation for this song.
It's my Christmas shoes.
It is your Christmas shoes. Sir, I wanna buy these shoes. Go back and listen, folks. It was a magical Christmas this year. Anyway, I hate it. I don't understand it. I'm so thrilled to have listened to it. Sometimes these things just line up. I mean, again, it is called Accidental Racist. There's no way to read that where I don't just go, oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then I heard it, Garrett, and I was swept away by Brad, LLCJ, by the misunderstanding that was apparently had. We'll get there.
Yeah, of course. Tim, I'm super curious. Prior to this week, had you heard this insane pile of garbage?
Absolutely not. Before January 29th, 2020, I had no idea that this even existed. What about you? Is this the first time you have accidentally been racist?
Okay, that doesn't work this week. Well done. I mean, yes to your question, but also asterisk. I didn't know this existed. I mean, had I known, I think we agreed to do this sight unseen because, again, folks, I don't know if I have mentioned, this song's called Accidental Racist? Brand new to me, brand new to you, but seemingly not to the rest of the world. Before we can really talk about the song, though, Tim, we need to understand how it came to be, the thinking behind it, especially this week. If you have any insights that can be gleaned from the history of this song, I want to hear about it. So, Tim, take us on a journey, oh so brief, I hope. Help us understand, who is Brad Paisley and how did he become such an accidental racist?
One thing I can promise you this week, Garrett, this will not be brief. I have done a lot of history on this man, far more than this song deserves.
Why?
Bradley Dudley Paisley was born in 1972 in West Virginia to a DMV worker and a school teacher. His grandfather gave him a guitar and taught him how to play beginning around 8 years old, and he started performing in church as all good country musicians do in 3rd grade. That was followed by a bunch of Christmas party and Mother's Day events.
Mother's Day events?
Mother's Day events.
Mama, I wrote this song for you, dreaming about that beautiful womb. I wish I could be there with you now. Yeah, okay, I get it.
Right.
I can see it now.
He said the neat thing about a small town is that when you want to be an artist, by golly, they'll make you one. I don't think that's true.
No.
I mean, maybe if the art that you want to pursue is country music and not as 1980s small town Towns, West Virginia would phrase it, the gayer of the arts.
Which one's that?
Any other arts other than country music. Again,
okay.
1980s small town West Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
That's not my phrasing. That's West Virginia's phrasing.
Oh, yeah. You would never say something like that.
Right.
And hey, 2020 West Virginia wouldn't say that. Maybe.
Oh, no, they are a woke state now.
Easy.
Anywho, at 13, he wrote a song called Born on Christmas Day, which he would later record professionally for a Christmas album that, again, is apparently required if you want to make country music. He formed a band called Brad Paisley and the C Notes, which included what Wikipedia described as two of Paisley's adult friends.
What?
I don't
How
know.
old's he?
13.
Okay.
He's a 13-year-old boy with two adult friends that are in a band named after the 13-year-old boy. One of them was his guitar teacher. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. In junior high school, his principal heard his Christmas song and got him to play at a Rotary Club meeting. There, somebody named Tom Miller asked him to be a guest on a music radio show called Jamboree USA. It's basically a low-rent Grand Ole Opry. Then he went on to become a weekly regular on that for 8 years and ended up opening for people like George Goddamn Jones. It's impressive, admittedly.
Yeah.
After graduating from high school in 1991, he did 2 years of college at West Liberty State College in West Virginia, and then he got a scholarship to Christianity's own Belmont University in Nashville, which you might remember as the educators of both Florida and Georgia from Florida Georgia Line, and also Chainsmokers fame, apparently, as well as noted petite actor DJ Qualls, among others. B. Pais majored in music business. He met a bunch of people that would end up writing songs for him in college, and he signed a songwriting contract with EMI less than a week after college graduation and began writing singles for other artists. He does that for like 8 years, and then in 1999, he had his first #1 hit on the Billboard Country chart with a song called He Didn't Have to Be, a Christmas Shoes-like song about stepfathers.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that song.
All right, well, you're familiar with B. Pais then. And his first album was certified platinum and got him nominated for a Grammy. B. Pais recorded an album called Part 2 in 2002 that also went platinum, and then released Mud on the Tires in 2003, as well as a book called Jug Fishing for Greasy and Other Brad Paisley Fishing Stories the same year.
God.
And then in 2005, B. Pais released Time Well Wasted with Alan Jackson and Dolly Parton, and he wrote and recorded 2 original songs for Pixar's Cars, the 4th best of all Pixar movies.
Nope.
In 2006, he released Brad Paisley Christmas, again with that song he wrote at 13 that got him that band with those older men.
Unclear what was going on there.
Yeah. 2007 saw the release of Fifth Gear. He got his 8th straight #1 single on the Billboard Country chart. His tour for that record notably featured Taylor Swift as an opening act.
I forgot she was country at first.
I wonder if she still does any of those country songs in concert.
Yeah, I have no idea.
In 2008, B. Pais released an instrumental album called Play, then American Saturday Night in 2009, and then B. Pais performed at the White House for Mr. and Mrs. Obama in what was described as a celebration of country music. He released a greatest hits collection in 2010. In 2011, he released his 8th studio album called This Is Country Music, a video game called Brad Paisley World, modeled after Farmville. He recorded a few songs for Cars 2, the 7th best Pixar movie. Nope. He was a guest star on a South Park episode. In 2012, he was in another South Park episode where he and Cartman sang All for One's And I Swear.
This is so not interesting.
Too bad. In 2013, he released an album called Wheelhouse that includes the Song of the Week. And then, Garrett, this is when it gets really weird and kind of makes me regret the song we chose for this week. In 2017, he recorded Love and War with Timbaland, John Fogerty, and Mick Jagger doing guest vocals. That also featured a song called Selfie # The Internet is Forever, perhaps in an attempt to top the nonsense that was the Chainsmokers #selfie. But
what even is that?
I do stand behind the general message of the song. Basically, it's a song about how you shouldn't put pictures of genitals on the internet or pictures of you committing bestiality on the internet because it will be there forever. If I may quote from this song, this is the first time I've ever done this. Some lyrics in the history history.
Highly irregular.
Go on and take one at the Grand Canyon, or if you get to meet Ringo Starr. But if you're texting some girl that you just met pictures of your little Brett Favre, you ought to be ashamed of your selfie. The internet is forever. Making out with your professor, the internet is forever. Naked with an Irish setter, the internet is forever. That's a song about how if you commit bestiality, and B-Pays is again not anti-bestiality, he's just anti-taking pictures of it and posting them publicly.
Right. Maybe I'm going to hold out hope, Tim, that it's a Burt Reynolds situation.
I don't know what that means. I think you're thinking of that rug. Was he the one on the rug?
Oh, maybe I'm thinking David Hasselhoff. I think there's one with him and he's just, he's nude except he's covered in puppies.
What?
Yeah, I think that's a thing.
Okay.
Google it.
I'm not gonna.
I hope I didn't make that up. If I did, listeners, if I made that up, let me know so I can get help.
Well, if you didn't make that up, you did confuse Burt Reynolds and David Hasselhoff, which is still weird.
A little, but Reynolds has the bearskin rug photos, so it's all a jumble, Tim.
Anyway, since then, Bradley has released 3 singles from an as-yet undisclosed album. All told, he's got 12 studio albums, 3 compilation albums, 19 number 1 hits on the Billboard country charts, 0 number 1 hits on the Billboard Top 100, 40 music videos, and as far as I know, I have never heard anything this guy has ever done before this week.
I've heard that Stepfather's song.
Right.
He didn't have to. God, I think I had a job delivering beer back then, maybe. I don't know what year that was.
2003.
Yeah, that would be the year. I was delivering beer, so I was training, and I didn't control the radio. So I believe that is how I heard that.
Is this the time that you insulted a man's Kia without knowing he drove a Kia?
I did.
Yeah.
Which is ironic now, because Kia's a nice car.
You heard it here first, folks. Get a Kia.
Well,
Throw the car you currently have in the garbage. Get yourself a
get
Kia.
it to a river, shove it in, buy a Kia.
Right.
Take your valuables out.
Well, you know what? It depends how much time you have. If you don't have that much time, leave them in there. Just get a Kia. You can get new, nice things once you got that sweet Kia to drive to the mall.
Right. But like, check your back seat though, like if you have young ones.
Sure. Don't drown a baby.
Yeah, absolutely not. Great advice, Tim. Don't drown a baby.
All right. That's most of the history.
Yeah, who cares? Tim, let's talk about this song.
If you don't judge my do-rag, I won't judge your red flag.
Brad Paisley felt the need. He looked at the world, he surveyed society, and he said, my voice is needed in the public debate on racism. The public is clamoring for my take on racism. Me, Brad Paisley, country star, knower of LLCJ, the public wants to know.
I noticed you call him LLCJ. That's an
Yes.
interesting approach.
Is that-
is that like a regional saying?
If you're gonna say Law and Order SVU, you can go fuck yourself. You can say Law and Order Special Victims Unit, or you can say L&O SVU. Either make it an acronym or don't. Abbreviation has to be all or nothing.
I don't think so. This is news to me. I do not know if I have ever been told that.
Oh, well, now you're being told.
Well, unreliable narrator. Back to the song. Couple thoughts right up top. Why is it so long?
And it's like 6 minutes long, isn't it?
It is like 6 minutes long. Oh boy. I'm trying to think about everything I want to say before we address the lyrics. And to be perfectly frank, I don't actually remember the music.
Well, okay. Let's talk about the music. It is more country than most modern country.
True.
At the very least, there are instruments that are typically associated with country songs. He sings with kind of an accent, and I'll admit it doesn't necessarily stay that the whole way. LLCJ is going to talk rap at us for a little while, and it's almost more LLCJ musings, but there's some parts that has some kind of beats over it, and the country, it's always playing in the background, but when LLCJ comes up, the volume of the country music gets turned down a bit.
Yes, it does. It is still not nearly as ridiculous musically as I expected it to be. I was expecting more of a Florida Georgia line. Like, where are the record scratches?
That's true. You know, I got through this whole song and I never once thought, where are the record scratches? Because record scratches can go fuck themselves.
I do not have this universal hatred.
Name a record scratch you've enjoyed.
I cannot get into this with you again. Yeah, okay, so you're right. It is more country-esque than most country songs. There is a heavier beat. I wouldn't say there are beats. And I was shocked to see LL Cool J.
I mean, in doing the research, I found out that this guy loves guest vocalists, but yeah, I wouldn't have imagined this would be the case.
It's so embarrassing.
For everyone involved.
That's true. That brings me to my first real question. What is his goal with this song?
To end racism, definitively.
Okay.
There was a day in 2013 where racism existed. Then the next day, this song came out. The following day, no more racism. That was the goal.
No.
I don't know if he accomplished it. We'll have to wait until the end to the how did it do, but
Sure.
that was the plan.
Interesting. Okay. And we're going to talk about the lyrics very soon. Just dying to. But the method by which he wants everyone to move forward is suspect. And by that I mean there's a lot of let's let bygones be bygones sort of an approach.
It's the country music version of Jimmy Valmer saying, well, come on.
It is very much a lock-in at the rec center.
I mean, we got to do it. Let's jump into these lyrics because they are absolutely bonkers.
Unavoidable. It's going to be hard for us. We're going to be fighting over what to read. So let's just dive in. Okay, I'm going to go first. To the man that waited on me at the Starbucks down on Main. I hope you understand when I put on that t-shirt. The only thing I meant to say, I'm a Skynyrd fan. But why the one with the big Confederate flag?
That's true. So I actually, just to make sure they all didn't, I did a little Google search of Lynyrd Skynyrd shirts.
That's fair, Tim. That's good research.
Yeah, you can get Lynyrd Skynyrd shirts that don't have what is widely considered by a large segment of our population to be a racist symbol on it.
Right. And this is the first time I'm going to ask it, and I don't think we can answer responsibly yet, but it's literally the first thing I wrote down after I heard those lyrics. This guy might be this stupid.
Yes, well, I think it speaks to the fact that this song was made at all. You can wear this shirt and be kind of an idiot and not know that it's going to be offensive. You can wear this shirt and be kind of racist. You can wear this shirt to mess with the liberals or whatever. But the fact that he wrote this song makes me think this might have been an honest mistake.
Sure, you got three camps. You've got, I'm literally so stupid I don't know that this pisses a lot of people off, and I just like Lynyrd Skynyrd. What's the big deal? There's the, I'm kind of a dickhead. I like Lynyrd Skynyrd okay, and I also like pissing people off. And then there's like the other side that's like, oh, I really like racism. Lynyrd Skynyrd's okay. And I think he really truly might be that stupid.
Yeah, that's completely fair. But he learned a lesson, Garrett. So to continue on the lyrics, he said, the red flag on my chest somehow, that's a key word, I think, somehow is like the elephant in the corner of the South, which I think he meant to say elephant in the room, maybe?
Well, he's a play on words, Tim.
Okay.
He's a lyricist.
All right. And I just walked him right into the room, just like a proud rebel son, another key phrase, with an old can of worms. Looks like I got a lot to learn. Now, if he's simultaneously saying the only thing I meant to say is I'm a Skynyrd fan, just a proud rebel son is not really compatible with that.
Oh man, I got so much to say here. Yes, of course. I also like the strategic word substitutions, not just with this song, but with this movement. Rebel son, not Confederate. Nobody's saying Confederate. We're saying rebel. I'm a rebel. Everybody loves the rebels. They're fighting. They're the resistance. Taking down the empire. First order. Everybody loves a good rebel. Not these rebels. These rebels wanted to own people.
Right. And so that's another thing. I went on a deep dive on this because the shirt he is describing is clearly what people think of when they hear Confederate flag, the red flag with the cross blue stars on the side, right? So
the Confederate flag.
Okay, that's not the Confederate flag, as it turns out. The Confederate flag looked approximately like the American flag. You know, it had a blue square in the corner. It had a circle of white white stars, and then it had a red, white, and a red stripe on it. This flag is a very specific flag. It is the battle flag of Northern Virginia, Robert E. Lee's army. It's not the actual Confederate flag. So when you have people that will say, oh, it's just about heritage, which you can already say, that feels a little racist, but okay, maybe you're saying, I love the South, I love the architecture, I love whatever, people are nice, I like, sweet tea or whatever. Fair enough. If we're going to give them 100% the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, that's what you mean, you could wear the Confederate flag and people would probably be okay with it, the actual Confederate flag. This specific flag was used basically exclusively for that one particular army, and it was mostly forgotten until the second iteration of the Ku Klux Klan used it, and then it was adopted in the 1940s by the Dixiecrat Party when they basically used Confederate symbols opposing integration and quote-unquote opposition to efforts to change the South's racial status quo. It's also notably sometimes used by neo-Nazis in Germany because the swastika is outlawed there. It was used by George Wallace, I think. He flew it over the Capitol in Alabama. That's not a great look. It was raised at the University of Mississippi during protests against integration there.
Heritage.
Yeah.
I'm noticing it's punctuating a lot of instances of racism rather than Southern pride.
Right. So what happened is this one specific flag that was used in the Civil War was adopted specifically to represent racist elements in the South. Also Dukes of Hazzard.
Right. We'll talk about that in a second. Isn't it weird that racism has merch?
It's a little weird, yeah, but I mean...
Like homophobia doesn't have merch.
I'll have to do some research on that, but I can't imagine that's true.
Well, there's not one symbol that almost everyone universally associates with a certain kind of hate.
Okay, let me counter that with this Confederate flag.
What do you mean?
I don't believe people that are anti-black people using this Confederate flag are pro-homosexual.
Oh, that's a blanket statement, Tim. How dare you be so narrow-minded?
Oh, well, I apologize to our racist but not homophobic listeners. Oh, also, this Confederate battle flag was reintroduced as an element of the state flag in Georgia in 1956, right after the Supreme Court decision Brown versus the Board of Education, considered to be a protest against school desegregation.
What was the deal with people?
Here's the thing. Even if this particular flag had simply been tarnished by civil rights, like that was the whole thing, it was not in any way involved with slavery, this would still be comparable to wearing a swastika and claiming you're just a fan of Hinduism or whatever. And I'm looking at you, Tommy Lee, you dirtbag.
Real Tommy Lee move. What swastika tattoo?
Yeah, right.
I've always had this big circle of black.
Yeah, and again, at best, you're not a racist, you're just a fan of the Civil War, but it's like bragging about that time your team lost a war. I just don't understand that aspect of it either.
Yeah.
I doubt there will be anytime soon that there'll be a bunch of white guys walking around in Iraq with an Operation New Dawn t-shirt.
No.
And if they do, the Iraqi man serving them at a Baghdadi Starbucks will be right to kind of give them the stink eye.
We're never going to be allowed back in there.
Also, Leonard Skinner has tried to walk back their involvement with this flag as of 2012.
Interesting, because Brad Paisley couldn't be shaken. In 2013, he tweeted, "Because I wouldn't change a thing. This is a record meant to be far from easy listening, but fun, like life. Have a ball, y'all. Love, Brad."
Is he Garth Brooks? He's Garth Brooks.
No, he might be Minnie Troyle.
Yeah, well, maybe it's just the way you read the tweet.
Yeah, I mean, I do like to read every country quote like it's Garth Brooks announcing he's on Facebook.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, folks, how fucking dare you? Go immediately when this ends and watch Garth Brooks joins Facebook. It is alarming. This guy's not a person.
No. He's got some sort of alien operating him like a puppet.
Yep. Good call, Tim. You heard it here first here. Garth Brooks, aka Troyle Brooks. That's his real name, not a nickname. Also, not a name. Might be an alien. We have to continue, Tim. I'm just a white man coming to you from the Southland, trying to understand what it's like not to be. Okay, it might be the silliest line of 2020 so far.
I think we're going to get to a number of things that beat that within the next couple of minutes.
Okay, he continues on then. I'm proud of where I'm from, but not everything we've done. And it ain't like you and me can rewrite history. Essentially just kind of, can't change the past, bro. Get over it.
Yes.
I just want to point out, Tim, he's focusing a lot on where he's from. Brad Paisley was born in West Virginia. And, I know you boned up on your Civil War history recently, so you were probably well aware. West Virginia, as I recall, was created exclusively for fighting the Confederacy. Like, it was essentially made as a result of the Civil War. I'm paraphrasing the creation of a state, but you get it.
Yeah. So also proud of where I'm from, but not everything we've done. I really don't understand this. First of all, why are you proud of where you're from?
Isn't that weird?
I'm proud to be an American, but you didn't do anything. Like, I would be proud of my accomplishments if I had any. Unfortunately, I'm me. But
we tackled this in early episodes, Tim. I think we came to the conclusion that people with a lack of personality or personal accomplishments, however they define them, often latch on to their geography as a personality trait, as a thing they've done well, merely by being born in a specific area of dirt on this weird flying rock through space.
Okay, if we move on here, I think it's very strange that Brad seems to think Reconstruction was literally about fixing the physical damage caused by the Civil War, like rebuilding buildings.
I mean, that was part of it.
I don't think that's what it referred to at all. I think that was a metaphor for the rebuilding of the nation conceptually.
Right, there was also like a whole bunch of jobs creation and stuff.
Well, sure, but when you talk about Reconstruction, if you're thinking of like rebuilding, yeah, okay. Based on that, it does seem possible that what he means by accidental racist is I'm not really racist, I'm just an idiot. The racist things I say and wear are simply because I don't know any better, because again, I'm an idiot.
Yes.
He says, they called it Reconstruction, fixed the buildings, dried some tears. We're still sifting through the rubble after 150 years. I try to put myself in your shoes, and that's a good place to begin, but it ain't like I can walk a mile in somebody else's skin. He kind of portrays himself as a victim here.
Absolutely. It turns out there's some folks here in the old South that are still super angry about Reconstruction. But of course, there was a bunch of like rampant abuse because it was 1868 or whatever. So yeah, you can point to a lot of examples of people being horrible and taking advantage of the situation, but also kind of needed to happen.
Well, sure. And also it then just got made a de facto thing with Jim Crow, et cetera, et cetera.
I just like the idea that in the pantheon of things that I need to think about in my day to live a happy and fulfilling life, the idea that like Reconstruction could creep in, what an odd set of priorities. Just like, fuck, I gotta go to the grocery store, I gotta get my dry cleaning, and I got the fucking meeting at like 8:30 tomorrow, and like I really can't get over the abuses that the South suffered during Reconstruction. Like having one of those Wednesdays, you know? What are you talking about?
Well, Garrett, you have to understand that in Reconstruction, in the Civil War, in slavery, in Jim Crow laws, in civil rights, in all of this, the real victim is Brad Paisley.
He seems to think so, because I want to point out to him, we're still picking up the pieces, walking on eggshells, fighting over yesterday. What eggshells?
Let me explain that part. What he's saying is that because he comes into contact with black people occasionally throughout his day, he has to be careful of what he does, wears, and says. So, for example, if he wears a Confederate flag shirt, or if he casually throws around the old N-bomb, he's a monster, is what I'm saying. Brad Paisley is the victim, but he's also kind of a monster.
Yeah, I was going to say, I work with a number of nationalities every day, and of the list of things I need to be concerned about, never once was I like, oh man, I'm going to be talking for almost an hour straight. What if I say something overtly racist?
Well, perhaps the problem is that you have internalized society's assault on you as a Southern white. I don't know, Garrett. I don't know.
He seems super concerned about being racist.
Yeah, these are the attitudes and words of somebody who is casually racist around his friends and now has to go out in public for the first time in like a week. And he's just, I'm walking on eggshells, gotta make sure that talk was just for my buddies. Now I'm out in the general public. That's not acceptable. I just, at all times, I gotta be vigilant to not say anything horrible. Oh my God, I'm wearing a Confederate flag shirt.
I'm making tens of millions of dollars every year. I gotta be cool. Don't do anything crazy, Brad. Don't go, oh, goddamn, where'd this sheet come from? Get off me. Get off me, Hood. Get off me. God damn.
Just an accident.
God damn.
Just an accident. God. So then we get another chorus, and then, Garrett, we get to the LLCJ part, and things just get awesome.
Things completely go off the rails here. I want to point that out. This is utterly insane.
Okay, so verse 3, this is the LLCJ verse, says,
I hate you.
Dear Mr. White Man, I wish you understood what the world is really like when you're living in the hood. Just because my pants are sagging doesn't mean I'm up to no good. You should try and get to know me. I really wish you would. Now my chains are gold, but I'm still misunderstood. I wasn't there when Sherman's march turned the South into firewood.
Okay, you gotta stop. There's too much, Tim. There's too much. You gotta put the pause on.
Okay.
This started, Dear Mr. White Man?
Yes.
I'm glad that everybody in this song gets terrible lyrics.
Sure. Well, with the white man thing, so Brad Paisley is metaphorically being all white men in this. So these are the words and thoughts of all white men. And LLCJ seems to be taking up the mantle of representing all African Americans.
Well, that can't be right.
That's what's happening.
That cannot be right.
Garrett, they're going to solve racism. You can't solve racism unless everyone agrees, or unless each side elects a representative, such as Brad Paisley and LLCJ, to just agree for them. And I think that's what this song is positing.
I do not remember voting.
Well, if you were going to vote, would you vote for Brad Paisley?
No.
Oh, well, my vote would cancel yours out then.
Why would you vote for Brad Paisley for anything?
He seems to know what's up.
I mean,
he's got a black friend, Garrett.
He arguably has good intentions, Tim.
I think he does. I think that he meant for this to be moving, which is why
a
it's
Lonely
so
Island song.
It is terrible. It is. It really
so
is
ridiculous. All right, hold on. So you read so much. You said I wasn't there when Sherman's march turned the South into firewood. Okay, this was clearly written by Brad Paisley.
Sure, because otherwise this is LLCJ apologizing for the outcome of the Civil War on behalf of all black people.
Right. And I don't think it's ever occurred to anyone in the history of the world, other than possibly Brad Paisley and people like Brad Paisley, that anyone needed to apologize now for Sherman destroying Atlanta.
Well, specifically that black people need to apologize to white people.
God damn, I really feel like they were not in the wrong.
Well, right, but Garrett, the reason you didn't think of that, that's the exact reason we need to vote somebody forward thinking like Brad Paisley into this position.
No, see, this is a disqualifying statement, Tim. He seems to think black people owe white people an apology for the Civil War.
Garrett, this is the best song we've ever talked about.
Worst song, Tim. Worst song. This guy's crazy. And again, he had the best of intentions.
Think about this. If he had had the worst of intentions, it wouldn't have been worse than this.
It couldn't have been.
That's how bad he is at this.
Okay, so we can continue. Feel like a newfangled Django dodging invisible white hoods, so when I see the white cowboy hat, I'm thinking it's not all good. I guess we're both guilty of judging the cover, not the book. Dodging invisible white hoods, so when I see that white cowboy hat, I'm thinking it's not all good. Does he think that people in cowboy hats are racist?
Yes.
Interesting. I mean, you got a 50-50 shot.
Probably. But I'd love to buy you a beer, conversate, and clear the air, but when I see that red flag and I think you wish I wasn't here. So again, I think that is actually a fair statement. If you're a black person and you see a guy wearing a Confederate flag shirt, you should probably avoid him. Yeah. There's a very good chance that guy doesn't like you.
Right. And having never been a black person, I can't say for sure. I'm just saying, he's probably not worth your time time.
Right. You and him are probably not going to be friends anytime soon.
Yeah, probably. And that's a reasonable assumption. Now, again, I have to wonder, did Brad Paisley write that lyric that any black people think people in cowboy hats are racist? It sounds like something a white guy trying to be a black guy would say.
Yes.
Just like, oh yeah, okay, so you're offended when I wear this Confederate flag on my shirt and you're making snap judgments? Well, you make snap judgments when you see cowboy hats. Do we?
Oh, we're going to get into that with the following chorus, Garrett, because we get Brad Paisley singing the chorus and LL Cool J is just, they refer to it as ad-libbing.
Do they? That's weird.
Yeah.
It's like an R&B song where it's like, damn girl.
But the things he's saying.
Instead, it's so crazy.
Oh, do you want to read them?
Okay, I'm going to try to do this without laughing. If you don't judge my do-rag, I won't judge your red flag. If you don't judge my gold chains, I'll forget the iron chains. And I have to stop there. I'm sorry.
This is amazing. These are my two favorite couplings of any song I've ever heard in my life ever. I love them so much. It really is that simple. If you don't shit on LLCJ for his dumb jewelry, all racism is solved. It's the one and only requirement.
It's not just solved, Tim. All past racism is also forgotten. I'll forget that slavery existed.
Oh, yeah.
I'll forget the iron chains.
All you have to do is let him wear a gold chain and all crimes in the past are forgiven. Why don't we even make it going forward? All future white on black crime is forgiven as long as Brad Paisley accepts LLCJ wearing the gold chains.
Now, Tim, I am a little nervous here. We could be accidental racists.
Oh, I'm sure we are.
Oh.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
I don't.
Think before you speak?
There we go. We'll say that.
There it is. Okay. Wait, what? Yeah, what? We will say that. All I mean is we have judged Lil Pump and his jewelry.
Sure, but I feel like I'm not being racist. I'm being jackassist.
Well, sure. And honestly, he can do whatever he wants. I don't care. One, the name of the show is Why I Hate This Album. So, if we listed all the things we like about him, it would be weird. But my problem more is that I just don't understand why you would spend like $250,000 on it. If you want to have a nice necklace, have at it. I'm not a jewelry man myself, but it just seems like $250,000 is a lot of money to put around your neck.
But the bigger problem here, if you don't judge my do-rag, I won't judge your red flag. Assuming that was written by LLCJ, which it almost certainly wasn't.
Right.
He's saying a white person should view a do-rag the exact same way that a black person should view the Confederate flag being worn on a t-shirt.
Yes. I think that what we're hearing is what Brad Paisley thinks of a do-rag.
Right.
And
Yes.
he
thinks that it
Tim,
is an affront to him as a white man.
Yes, which I have to ask, have you ever been offended by a do-rag?
No.
Yeah, it's never even occurred to me. Again, not for me, but it's a hat. I don't care. But apparently Brad Paisley's sitting at home just going with their do-rags and their gold chains.
Yeah, right, because he is an overt racist. Allegedly.
But again, he's not. He's an earnest racist?
I don't know. But I want to say, I love this whole thing, Garrett. This is the wear nice shoes on your deathbed to get into heaven loophole for racism. Sure, you've enslaved whole races of people. However, you allow LLCJ to wear gold chains and a do-rag and all is forgiven. LLCJ speaks for black people on this.
Well, again, he doesn't.
Well,
but
if he
that's
does,
the
they
intent.
should get a better spokesman.
Oh, yeah, doing a bad job.
Yeah.
But I think these are mostly lyrics written by B-Pays.
Oh, I love it. You're using it now.
Oh, well, I instantly regret it. I'll edit it out later.
No, don't you dare.
The relationship between the Mason-Dixon needs some fixin'.
That might be the worst line on the song.
Silliest line of 2020. The relationship between the Mason-Dixon needs some fixin'. That is ridiculous.
I hope you understand what this is all about. Quite frankly, I'm a black Yankee, but I've been thinking about this lately. I'm a son of the New South. Now, I don't know what that means, but I think you'll agree when I say I'm a white Texan. However, if you think about it, I'm kind of from rural Pennsylvania.
Yes, that is the same.
Then I do understand it.
And I just want to make things right. Let bygones be bygones. Where all that's left is Southern pride. Is there another part of our country that has the same pride for their geography?
Texas has its own thing, certainly.
Sure. Texas is at least a formal body. What's interesting is we here, Austin, Texas, we are in the South, but we are really kind of more southwest, west, especially Austin. But we are very much in the South, but we would not be considered the South.
Right.
per
Of
se.
the southern United States, we are more on the cowboy half, I think is what you're trying to say.
It's not, but you're actually correct. Ish. Little C, not big C. I don't want to let go of the fact that LL's drop in the middle of that lyric is let bygones be bygones.
It really is that simple, Garrett.
Again, I am not a black person, so I can't say with certainty. I can only guess. That's asking a lot. Like, I'm not
Probably.
saying you need to go out and carry a rage of the injustices of history every day, but I also don't think you have to just go, shit happens.
Yeah, Garrett, I think we still have the dumbest lines of this song left to
Yeah,
go.
you might be right. God, I'm excited.
He says, "Where all that's left is Southern pride." And then LLCJ drops in with, "R.I.P. Robert E. Lee, but I've got to thank Abraham Lincoln for freeing me." That's my favorite line of any song. I know I've said that like 6 times. They should keep going. They should do another 6 to 8 verses. Let's just see how outlandish they can get with these lyrics. Maybe like a live version instead of a guitar solo, they can just have some sort of ignorant nonsense off. It's holy shit. It's amazing. R.I.P. Robert E. Lee, but I've got to thank Abraham Lincoln for freeing me.
Does he know what RIP stands for?
Presumably not. But again, let bygones be bygones, so maybe.
It's so offensive, and we are not offended people. We don't really give a shit, but I find it so offensive because it's so dumb.
I love it so much, Garrett. This is my
Yes.
favorite song of all time. It's so bad.
I hope everybody listened to it because it is so crazy.
Yeah, if you didn't, even though we've gone through all the lyrics, go back and listen to it. It's great.
We actually forgot to say, let's listen to it.
I'm sure we threw it in there. Who knows? If not, here's some of the song.
No, we can't do that. I'll drop it in there somewhere.
All right.
How dare he sing R.I.P. Robert E. Lee?
Garrett, you have given me the right to put whatever I want on your tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be R.I.P. Robert E. Lee, but I've got to thank Abraham Lincoln for freeing me.
That's going to be offensive.
Yeah.
But it was a deal we made. I lost the bet, so you can put whatever you want on my tombstone.
And if I'm ever in a coma, you get to kill me however you want.
Yep, that's fair deal. Fair deal. You're going to get raked to death. And not the metal rake, friend. The wicker rake. You know what I mean? They're like real flexible.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat you to death with a palm frond. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't see a music video for this, and I'm crushed by that. However,
Yeah, I was really excited for that prospect.
I did see LLCJ and Brad Paisley do a couple of interviews defending this song because the internet got real pissed off in 2013, apparently.
Yeah.
To quote LLCJ, "Sometimes I wear a skull and crossbones. That don't mean I'm a pirate. In the same way, just because Brad wears a Confederate flag, that doesn't mean he's a racist." All I can think of after that statement is LLCJ a pirate?
I don't think so.
Oh.
But wait, hold on. Sometimes I dress like a pirate? Did he say that?
I think he means like sometimes he wears like a Raiders jersey, like that kind of thing, or something that has a skull and crossbones on it.
Oh, he said skull and crossbones.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm a pirate.
Right.
Right. But the skull and crossbones isn't intrinsically tied to racism.
No, it's intrinsically
Pirates.
tied to pirates. Right.
No one cares about pirates.
Well, that's not true, Garrett. I have spent a good portion of the past year keeping pirates under wraps.
I never see any of these pirates.
I know. That's because I do a really good job. I am a good cowboy.
I don't think so.
They're in Somalia, in the Caribbean.
No, for sure. No, they totally exist. You're not helping.
I am. Every time they make landfall, I fight them back into the sea.
I was going to say, what are you going to ride your horse out into the ocean?
No, I meet them at the beach. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Chuck fire onto their stupid wooden boats.
Yeah.
Your home floats on water. Just burn it down. And you drown.
Right.
I don't understand why people have so much problem with pirates.
Or racism, for that matter. It was solved in 2013.
It was not. Mission not accomplished. Possibly set back. Technically, racism is 2 years behind. We are in 2018's racism
Oh.
due to this song. Tim, how did this do?
This hit number 23 on the Billboard Country charts. It hit number 77 on the Billboard 200 charts. I checked with the Dutch, wherever they may be. They have not heard this song. However, Garrett, I will make it my life's mission to bring this to the Dutch. As soon as I find the Dutch, I will ensure that every Dutch person listens to this all the way through to completion at least once.
That is a huge waste of time. I'm only emboldened by the fact that I do not think you will ever find The Dutch. What did people think of it?
Amazon had 42 reviews, 4.2 out of 5 stars on average, 68% 5-star, 9% 1-star. Teresa said, "Love it. I hope this song and its refreshing message reaches a lot of people. There are people out there in the media already trying to bash this song and calling it racist. Now, although I'm not black or white, but Native America, I really appreciate what these two are trying to say with this song. There is nothing wrong with a never forget attitude, but there is something wrong with an attitude that keeps people fearing or hating one another for no reason or misconceptions. And I think that's what these two are trying to bring an end to. I will never forget the Holocaust, but I also won't hold Germans born years later responsible. My ancestors, the Choctaw people, were part of the Trail of Tears. I won't forget that it happened, but there's no resentment in my heart for a single person living today because of it. I think songs like this should be encouraged rather than discouraged."
Wow.
5 out of 5
Okay.
stars. Now, Garrett, we have one from John C. Bentheim, MD.
Okay.
It's called A Doctor's Review of Accidental Racist.
No, it isn't.
It is. It 100% is. How often do you hear from a guy who wears a cowboy hat?
I mean, daily, unfortunately.
I love the Southern American accent in satire, in movies, etc. Thinking about lynchings makes me despair. This Brad Paisley doesn't seem to promote such things, and I enjoyed the song. But both of these guys have tremendous talent. Thank you for your artistic and creative innovation. John C. Bentheim, MD. 5 out of 5 stars.
Alarming. Don't go to that guy.
Nina Lovely said, "Great song. Ended up downloading this song because of a debate we were engaged in at work." This is presumably the day she got fired.
Is racism still around?
And it proved a point a friend and I were trying to make perfectly. You cannot judge a person or thing based on a collective history. You have to take each individual as just that, an individual, and not a stereotype. I like works of both these artists, and I truly enjoyed this collaboration. 5 out of 5 stars.
I mean, I like LL Cool J, and I agree with everything she said, but that's not in this song, right?
No, Robert Alvis titled his review Bold Message.
Is it?
Regardless of the poor lyrics or melody, this song has the courage to address a problem that confronts society today. 5 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
Regardless, of the poor lyrics and poor melody.
What else is there again?
The courage in the message. Jenny Wegner called this amazing song. My husband and I were nearly drawn to tears over the intensity and importance of the message that LLCJ and Brad Paisley shared. What an amazing combination. Every radio station should be playing this song. 5 out of 5 stars.
How can I think something sounds so different than this person does?
Well, this person is the sort of person that's brought to tears by a B-Pays and LLCJ collabo.
It's a real ebony and ivory, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, we should do that song. I think it's terrible.
It's so
terrible.
weird.
One more here. This is by CJ Glaze. This is a great song. Love it. They did a great job showing how people make judgment by the way people look. I wear my flag shirt, but that doesn't mean I'm racist. It's all a part of the past. I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but we can't change it. 5 out of 5 stars.
But you can now wear the shirt.
No, he bought that shirt.
Nah, I like the shirt. Shirt's okay. Just stop being so, angry about it.
Yeah, stop being so judgmental of other people.
Who celebrate racism.
Yeah, who celebrate judging other people.
Well, judging so harshly.
Yeah.
Tim, who's this for?
Everyone, Garrett. Black, white, apparently Native American. This will bring us all together. This will finally atone for America's original sin.
It will not, but I do
It will and
think it
did.
could bring us together with hilarity.
Maybe
A
this
common
show.
understanding. Oh, this show can't end racism, but it does help the healing.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it's a core tenet of the show. We are an open tent. We want all to come and listen, participate, reach out to us, hatepodmail@gmail.com.
Or
But
at least download. That's fine too.
yeah, sure. Don't listen. We don't care. Just get those downloads going. No. We want you to listen. We want to hear from you. But Tim, we are inclusive. We are hoping to break down barriers, learning about other cultures, getting outside of our comfort zone. You make me incredibly uncomfortable daily.
Right? But you accept
Doing it
that.
right now.
Yep.
I want to point out that's my knee.
Yep, that's my cowboy hat resting right there on your knee.
Yep.
And I think that you won't move it for a couple of reasons. One, you respect my right to have that cowboy hat. Two, I am, of course, wearing the 6-shooter on my hip.
Yeah, I was curious about that. This is new.
Yeah,
and we have a pretty strict no gun policy for you.
Right. Well, again, when I'm not out doing my cowboy business, but this show today is my cowboy business.
I'm 80% sure that's a prop.
You want to try it?
I'm thinking about it, but not yet.
right.
Tim, is there anything we haven't said about this song?
I just can't understand how this could have been phrased so poorly. I do think they had good intentions. I just think they're maybe the dumbest people on earth.
How did nobody go, guys, I don't know. Maybe not, right? Because, makes you look like a total and complete racist. Maybe Brad Paisley's a genius and it's all incredibly meta. And the song itself, not the content of the song, but the fact that the content of the song makes him seem like an accidental racist in his efforts to cure racism. Maybe the song itself is him being an accidental racist. He meant to solve racism. Instead, he came off terrifically racist. That would make him a genius.
Yep, but it's not the case. If you read the lyrics, he is too bad of a songwriter to have that much intention behind it. I mean, granted, Garrett, this is the guy that wrote a song about how you shouldn't take pictures of you naked with a dog and put them on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, great advice, but also don't take pictures of you naked with a dog, full stop. Leave the internet out of it. Just don't do that. Why are you doing that?
Also, you know what? We'll take it one step back. Don't be naked with that dog.
You know what, Tim? That's a great point. You don't have to take a photo at all. Just don't be naked. Well, okay, hold on. I get into the shower all the time and Batman comes running in. He doesn't give a shit. Like through the bathroom, not into the shower. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't like pose with it. Not a lot of physical contact happening. I feel like you're judging me right now. Anyway, R.I.P. Robert E. Lee. Tim, do you hate this song?
No, Garrett, I don't. This is too insane to hate. I had such a good time listening to this and learning about it and trying to figure out what the hell this was to hate it. I am a fan of complete and total failure, and I'm a fan of this.
Okay, that's fair.
What about you, Garrett? Did I unget you there?
No, I hate this. It's stupid. It's really fun. You're right. This is a lot of fun, but I can't help
Garrett, let
think,
bygones be bygones.
I want to, Tim. I really do. But I can't help but feel like this is likely just a money grab. Who could hate a song that's anti-racism? Ooh, but I don't have anything to say to write that song. So, how about a bunch of like weird straw man arguments that make me seem pretty racist?
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Wait, what?
I don't hate this. They solve racism. They cure America's psyche of racism. And I don't hate that. You did.
No.
A couple weeks ago, we listened to a song in which a man bragged about statutory rape. Let's just be honest with what he was doing. And I hated it. You did not.
This does not represent me. You are painting a wildly different picture than what actually occurred.
I don't think so.
Well, you are, again, the least reliable of narrators. That brings us to listener mail. That's where we each pick a piece of correspondence and read it here on the show. I'm going to suggest you go first this week, Tim, because I've got something really unique for us.
Oh, I have a Facebook post from somebody that has posted before, and this guy
God. I know what this
just
is.
hates us.
But avid listener.
Well, we don't actually know. It seems like maybe he's just reading the topics.
He might just be reading the titles.
Yeah.
But he hates us.
Right. This is by Nils, and this was the guy that defended Bono before.
Oh, right.
Checking in with these buffoons once more, and I'm sad to say they have now stooped to making fun of actual teenagers like Billie Eilish and Lil Pump, as if it wasn't bad enough that they'd made fun of the poor and dispossessed and Bono and brave women telling the truth and standing up for their own belief. I don't know that that's why we made fun of those brave women. I think it was for their bad music. But it is sad indictment how people will listen to cynical stuff like this that promotes lack of morality and being rebels without a cause and just say, we're joking, boys and girls, whenever someone call them out on the bullshit they have spat. This show seems more morally bankrupt than ever, and they're just jealous that they don't make many money like the artists. That's a fair point. Also, listener, this is an indictment on you.
Oh, yeah, feel free to, dox them or whatever. I don't give a shit. Sorry, After Dark?
No, just no.
Oh, whatever. I don't care. Right there with the caring about Sherman's march through Atlanta, the Mason-Dixon line, Robert E. Lee in general. Why does this guy have enough free time in the day to write this for basically no one on Facebook?
Right. But again, Garrett, we made fun of the poor and dispossessed and Bono and brave women telling the truth.
I know we made fun of Bono.
Yes, because Bono sucks balls.
He does suck balls. Folks, Bono sucks balls.
It's fine to suck balls if you are into sucking balls or having your balls sucked. That's completely okay. He sucks metaphorical balls.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Tim. We're not out here to tell you don't suck or have your balls sucked. That brings me to a very important point.
Oh, no.
I received few #YourMomSucksMe on Twitter, and that is the official insult of the show. So come on, folks. Do better. Reach out. #YourMomSucksMe.
But not none.
Not none, dozens. Anyway, that guy's great. Thank you for listening, Niels. Hope to hear from you again soon. Mine is an email from Evan. This is actually a follow-up email. You responded to young Evan. I read his first correspondence with us, and this is his follow-up. Strap in, folks. This gets weird. Dear Timison, it warms my heart to receive your reply. I'm glad you apparently enjoyed my nicknames, or rather my pandering to your nonsensical babble. Since my last writing, I have enslaved an AI and forced it to write fan fiction about you two. If you want to toy with it, you can access it by Googling GPT-2 and clicking on the Talk to Transformer option. Here's one of its baby steps. And now, Tim, he has included fan fiction written, and I'm sad to say it's very similar to the other fan fiction we have received, but in this case, written entirely by a robot. So the way this works, Tim, this is 100% real. I did the research. This is a natural learning algorithm. It's quite fascinating. But in any event, to not bore the shit out of you folks, you type a sentence and then you tell it to generate and it writes a story. So he entered the sentence, Garrett clipped Tim's leash to the black leather collar and stroked his back gently, which I gotta say, Evan, terrible first sentence. That's
I agree.
disturbing. And this is where it gets weird. This is all robots. Tim's eyes were moist and welling with tears. He had shown Garrett a video he had found on the internet showing a medical marijuana treatment, which also showed the 4-year-old injecting multiple times in his back and shoulders with the medication.
What?
I just want to give him that life. I just want to make him happy, Garrett said. Tim's hands covered his back and face. His shoulders were jutting up from the seat of his mother's new car. In his vacant eyes was just emptiness. The night began with loud crashing noises at the other end of the... And then it just stops. Hope you guys enjoy. Cheers, Evan. Note, yes, this is actually written by an AI based on the first sentence, which I created. Okay, he goes into it. No, I didn't code it. If I was that good at creating things, then I would have a podcast with its world headquarters in the land of the Dutch, and I'd have hired a couple of buffoons to talk for an hour and change about stupid music.
What's the deal with people calling us buffoons?
I don't know. It's very specific
We're
language.
2
and
for
troubling.
2 this week, and one of these guys is clearly from somewhere in Europe, possibly the Dutch. Do you think it's possible Evan and Nils are the same person?
No, I don't.
Oh, all right.
So, Tim, I got my hands on this AI. And I wrote myself a robot story.
Damn it.
So here's the first sentence. This is the sentence I entered. Tim cannot read and asks Garrett for help. But Garrett hates Tim. So, and this is where the robot kicked in, so gives him a box of glue, forgetting that Tim needs to be born again, which Tim understands too. In the end, he turns into this. Good God, man, there's a lot of white in that. If that wasn't bad enough, another time after Garrett accidentally leaves Paul in Tim's body, he deliberately knocks Tim's entire mom out.
That did happen.
That did happen. Tim barely remembers her at this point in the story. And one last time, what the fuck is going on with Tim? Wait, Tim didn't die. Oh, okay. They switched bodies. Well, that worked out okay, huh? Tim wept all the tears of a beautiful boy.
This is incredible.
It's the new show.
Yeah, we're just going to do this now.
It is addictive. That's the third story I created.
Garrett, I'm not writing notes anymore. I'm just going to have this computer tell me what my opinions are. And not just in the show.
For life.
For life, yeah. I'm
This is
only
your Jiminy
doing what
Cricket.
the algorithm tells me to. Apparently, I'm going to have some sort of Paul inside of my body.
Maybe. But you're going to weep all the tears of a beautiful boy, so look forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, I currently am. Well, not currently, but will be later.
I'm going to review what currently means later. All right, that brings us to music news of the weird, all the strange things happening the week we recorded this. When did we record it? Probably a couple weeks ago. Who knows? Tim, you want to kick us off or you want me to?
You go first.
All right. As you folks may know, it's now been a couple of weeks, but Eminem, aka Bruce, performed at the Oscars recently. And while most people were excited to see the 8 Mile star, they were left wondering, why now? Speaking to Variety, Eminem explained that the performance was his chance to seize the spotlight after previously turning down a performance at the 2003 ceremony. He said, quote, "I kind of figured maybe since I didn't get a chance to do it at the time, maybe it would be cool. Back then, I never even thought that I had a chance to win, and we had just performed Lose Yourself on the Grammys with The Roots a couple weeks before the Oscars, so we didn't think it was a good idea. And also back at the time, the younger me didn't really think a show like that would understand me." Tim, do I kind of like Eminem?
You do.
Okay. Yeah. So it turns out he was just like, yeah, they asked me. I said no because I figured that I would embarrass myself by not winning. And, I'm Eminem. So I did it, 10 years later or whatever. 17 years later.
Yeah.
That is weird. I watched it. It's not great.
No, that was also my first story of the week.
Oh, what else you got?
Well, Garrett, in Chris Brown news. Chris Brown
Who did he...
has a massive face tattoo. It's not that massive, but on the right cheek is a Nike Air Jordan.
Cool.
Yep.
Tim, I'm speechless. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Well, you know what? Yet another data point that I hate Chris Brown.
It's not the most important one, though.
No, not by a country mile.
Just for the record, that is a cowboy phrase.
No, it isn't.
It is.
No, it isn't. Tim, American songwriter Diane Warren and favorite of the show, who has penned hits for singers like Celine Dion, Cher, and Lady Gaga, was awarded the Sweden Polar Music Prize on Tuesday. Co-founded in 1989 by Stig Anderson, publisher and manager of the Swedish band ABBA, previous winners include Paul McCartney, Bob Dylan, Paul Simon, Elton John, and, confusingly, Metallica.
All these people are Swedish?
No. 2 prizes are given out each year, traditionally one to a classical artist and one to a pop musician. The committee also rewarded the Austrian-Russian soprano and one of Tim's personal favorites, though probably your third favorite, Anna Netrebko. Yeah, you're a fan.
Or him, either way.
That's probably her. One of the most prominent virtuosos in the opera world. Both winners receive 1 million Swedish crowns, or roughly $103,000. Sweden, what are you doing? What else you got, Tim?
According to BuzzFeed, future guest of the show, Jessica Simpson, has released a memoir.
I've heard it's shocking.
Yeah, Garrett, there are some pretty scandalous details contained within. Would you like to hear a few?
Sure. I hope they're not all Nick Lachey related.
No, they're mostly Nick Lachey's pain related, though, if that helps.
It doesn't. That's Nick Lachey.
On the set of Dukes of Hazzard, she had an emotional affair with Philip John Clapp, who you perhaps know better as Jonathan Knoxville, while both of them were married. This was because she felt she could be her true self around him without him making fun of her directly to her face. That is a frequently overlooked aspect of courting the very dumb. I personally prefer my dates to not mock me directly to my face. So,
sure.
That's nice of them. While she was having said emotional affair, she would write love letters to Phil Clapp while her husband Nick was asleep in bed right next to her. Scandalous.
That is stupid. Also, call him Johnny Knoxville, you cunt.
She also detailed her relationship with John Mayer, who she says was obsessed with her. And apparently Tony Romo broke up with her because of a scandalous email she sent to Mr. Mayer while dating him. She ended up eventually having to break off all contact with John, who she described as her quote-unquote personal sexual napalm because
of that means.
How torrid their feelings were for each other.
With giant hands.
Justin Timberlake and Ryan Gosling had a long-running bet about which one of them could kiss her first. After Mr. Timberlake kissed her, he immediately pulled out his phone and texted Rai because he's a petty dick.
So they were sort of living She's All That?
Possibly.
Oh, don't pretend like you don't know that movie.
I have not seen
every Freddie Prinze Jr. movie.
You know what? That's fair. I apologize to you and to our listeners.
And every Kevin Pollak film.
Oh, I do love Kevin Pollak, but between the two of them, I am, of course, a Prince head.
Of course.
Well, a Prince Jr. head.
Right. You are almost completely oblivious of his father's work.
Yes.
All right. In other music news, Tim, this is a quick one, but heads up for future guests on the show. Pitbull and Blake Shelton have joined forces to create a new song called Get Ready. Tim, I watched the music video. I listened to the song. It is insane. It is sampling Ram Jam's Black Betty. You got to hear it, Tim. We are definitely doing this on a prep-isode. And it's a nice way to get into Pitbull's world without having to do an entire album up top.
Oh,
so
sure.
Look forward to that. What else you got?
According to TMZ, Halsey really does not like it when people heckle her at her concerts. On the Sunday before the Super Bowl, she performed in Miami, and some guy would just not stop yelling G-Eazy, the name of one of her previous man friends. She began screaming, "Fuck that guy! If you say G-Eazy one more fucking time, I will kick you out of this building. I will kick your fucking ass. Test me. I will kick your ass out of the fucking club. You're not going to disrespect me like that at my own show." As I'm sure you have noticed, this does not seem to be a wise decision if you don't want to be responsible, one, for your fans murdering people, but also for a series of people doing this in the future just because they think it would be funny.
Right, he won.
Absolutely. I believe, though, that this was a test on her part. I think she was testing the waters to see how loyal a youth brigade may be. Will they murder somebody in public?
Or at least just throw him out.
Yeah, or commit assault, etc., etc. All of this is alleged, of course. And again, not saying this guy is in the right, but this is not the correct way to handle this if you want to avoid charges for inciting a riot. See the Tommy Lee episode about asking your fans to injure somebody. This is only going to make people scream G-Eazy at you at every show you do from now on, because people are assholes.
I wonder if you could shout Youth Brigade.
I have a tweet from her. This was sent to us by Elliot on Instagram. And this is a tweet from October 13th, 2014 from Halsey. She said, "It's funny you guys call me mom, cause in Halo, Dr. Halsey kidnapped a bunch of kids and constructed an army of them. And it's like, me too."
Oh my God, it's happening in front of our eyes, Tim.
Yeah.
This is how democracies fall. The elderly, and I think the cutoff is 30 and above, take up arms. The Youth Brigade will start going house to house.
Well, okay, we are not suggesting you take up arms against the youth, but
Well, no, it's an expression.
be vigilant.
It means murder them in their sleep
Oh
before
my
they can
God!
kill you.
No, maybe. I mean, you yeah, I don't
Allegedly.
know. Right,
I
one
don't
of
know.
those.
Yeah, we don't have one for that. My last story of the week, Tim, is a cute one to me. As you are well aware, Rage Against the Machine continues to add reunion dates to their ever-evolving tour, and while most people seem to be generally pleased about this, not everybody is. Recently, Reading and Leeds Festival announced that Rage Against the Machine would be headlining one of the days, and the teens were not impressed. They took to Twitter asking, "Who is this? Nobody wants this. I don't want to go listen to some stupid rock band." Many of them calling them goths. Just no idea.
That has to be the best insult for a Rage Against the Machine fan. You fucking goths.
It's hilarious.
It's so
There's
weird.
so many of them, and like videos of like Insane Clown Posse people like gathered under a overpass as some sort of party. They're like, "Well, here's Reading and Leeds this year." Great. They haven't been a band for a long ass time.
Fair enough. And some more serious news. After our groundbreaking PP-sode on the Rolling Stones' sexual indiscretion, sexual assaults, actress Rae Dawn Chong of Commando and the Color Purple film fame, as well as daughter of Tommy Chong fame, mentioned in a Hollywood Reporter podcast interview that she played Mickles' love interest in the music video for 1985's Just Another Night when she was 24. The host then asked if she and Mr. Jagger had sexual relations during the filming of the music video. She replied, "Not then. I was over it. By then, no. Not when we did that movie. We were just friends by then. But as a child, you know." And then she laughed and said, "I knew him in that way when I was a teenager, but not as an adult. I was over it. We were friends, put it that way. With benefits. I didn't want to be with him. I thought he was old, but I thought he was interesting because he was Mick Jagger. You know, you're young, you're just newly sexual, even though you were underage." And it was like, yeah, it was easy peasy.
Ugh.
Yeah.
God, we may have to delete this story.
We may have to delete that episode whenever you said that you were not.
No, would you stop it?
I'm just saying you don't hate that song.
We cannot keep going over this. All right, Tim, that brings us to the big announcement. What album are we going to be talking about next week?
Next week, we will be talking about the band Stained's album, Break the Cycle. So I have to ask, Garrett, do you have any predictions about this album? Do you know anything about this?
Stained. How can I answer this? I think, if I remember correctly, I'm on the outside, I'm looking in, I can see through you, see to the real you. But inside you're ugly, ugly like me. I can see through you, see to the real you. Does that answer your question?
Yep. Neither one of us have heard anything on this album.
Looking forward to it. But that's for another week, folks. For this week, that pretty much does it. As always, you can go to hatepod.com and you can get every episode we've ever done in every format you could possibly want. Of course, not on Pandora Premium. But other than that, absolutely. And you can reach out to us. You can go to hatepodmail@gmail.com, or you can go to hatepod.com and click on Contact Us in the upper left-hand corner. It does ask for an email. That's just so we can email you back. We will not pester you. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Tell us your weird stories. Send us your odd art, your songs. We want to hear it all. Your weird AI fan fiction. I will be messing with that more later in the show. Not this episode, of course. You can go to facebook.com/hatepod. You can also reach out to us on Twitter at albumhatepod. You can go to Instagram. It's hatepod on the gram. You can go to YouTube. We're on there too. God knows what the URL is, but hey, you know how Google works. Most importantly, if you want to help out the show, tell somebody you think who would like it to give it a listen. You can also rate the show. It makes a big difference. Just go out to the old iTunes. Even if that's not where you listen, that's where you can make the most impact. Give it the 5 stars. Get that out of the way, but then get weird with it. We want to know you're listening. Weird inside jokes, funny stories. We've had recipes. We've had reviews of our burger restaurant. We've had odd references to John Lithgow. Get strange with it. We want to hear from you. For Why I Hate This Album, I've been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I've been the other, Tim Richardson.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.